Hello and welcome to Crossing Borders with Nathan Lustig, where I have conversations with entrepreneurs doing business across borders and the people who support them, with a focus on those with a connection to Latin America. My guest today is Fabrizio Bloisi, co-founder and CEO of Movile, one of the tech giants in Latin America. Fabrizio and I talk about how he and his co-founder started the company way back in 2000 as an SMS and mobile phone content business, and now how they've morphed into a powerhouse in Brazil, Latin America, and shortly the world in today's mobile-first ecosystem. Today, Movile's 1,600 employees support apps that are used by more than 120 million people per month in Latin America, US, and Europe for things like children's education and entertainment, food delivery, grocery delivery, ticketing, and many more. We talk about how Fabrizio was inspired by Silicon Valley, a local Brazilian company called AB InBev, and Chinese giants like Tencent, Meituan, and Alibaba. He's taking that inspiration from China to build an ecosystem strategy and a payment system called Rapido, based on WeChat and Alipay, really the first of its kind in Latin America. We also talk about how Movile has been able to constantly reinvent themselves and continue to grow, and their new goal of serving 1 billion people in the next 5 years. Fabrizio is one of the most impressive entrepreneurs I've met and is one of the leaders in Latin America. If you haven't heard of Movile yet, please be sure to check them out more in detail beyond listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Fabrizio Bloisi. Hey Fabrizio, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for doing this.
Hello Nate, pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
No, happy to do it. So where are you in the world today?
Right now I'm in São Paulo in Brazil. Movile is all around the world in US, California, Florida, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and France. But today I'm home at São Paulo.
And so you mentioned Movile. What's Movile? What are you working on?
We are the leader mobile marketplace company in Latin America. So we have many marketplaces that sell all kinds of things to the mobile phones. Starting from food, we are the biggest food delivery operation company in Latin America, online food delivery. Going through tickets, going through content. So we have around 150 million people receiving our services in their mobile phone. Using the Movile marketplace.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
So far, our big goal is to get to 1 billion persons, make life better for 1 billion persons through our applications. So we are just starting, a lot ahead to come.
And is the goal for those 1 billion, where will they be located? All around the world or mostly in Latin America? Or what are you thinking?
Movile today is the Latin America mobile leader company, but our goal within the next few years is to expand globally. Today we have one product that is a global leader called Play Kids. It's the number one app globally for preschool kids, but 90% of Movile today is Latin America. To get to our 1 billion goal, we will go global with much more products.
It's awesome. So what I want to focus our conversation on today is how you went from starting the company with just one product into all of the different business lines that you have today, also turning into one of the more active investors in Latin America, investing in lots of different business lines. So can you take me back to when you got started with the company and what the company was about when you founded it and when?
Definitely. We have a classical startup story. So we started with 2 persons around 2000, and we were doing contents with mobile carriers. And in 2000, it means messaging, text contents. We grow the company a little. So a few years later, around 2008 or 9, we have like a 50 persons company, a few $1 billion in revenue. But then we started a strong consolidation strategy in the content area. This was a very important step for Movile. We at first merged with our biggest competitor. Then we acquired more 2 competitors. And by 2012, we were the biggest mobile content company in Latin America. And we have a very strong expertise, not only in merger and acquisitions, but also in management model and managing a company distributed in 6 or 7 different offices in many different countries. So by 2012, we were a successful mobile content company, regional mobile content company. However, we always dreamed big. We always think we want to create one of the biggest companies in the world. Our goal really is to get to 1 billion customers, and we will get there. And by this time, we perceived that we couldn't grow as we dreamed if we did not enter in other sectors. We were working with mobile carriers, but we started to bet that we should distribute not only content but physical goods, and not only through carriers but through Apple, Google, and focus on smartphones. The story from 2012 to today is really exciting. In total, from 2010 to today, we have grown more or less 200 times our revenue. So it was a really high growth story. And from 2012, we started to diversify outside mobile carriers. First, in the mobile content business, we launched a product called Play Kids. It's a global product that used all our core competence, capacity of marketing, develop good technology, good apps, and Play Kids become a quite successful content story. But at the same time, we also invested in the food business. We invested in a 10-person company called iFood that were doing 20,000 deliveries per month. And we believed that if we migrate this company to mobile, we could use our expertise, our assets to build e-commerce, service e-commerce for food delivery. The result was really exciting. iFood grew from 20,000 orders to around 6 million orders in a few years. Today, iFood is one of the most successful internet companies in Brazil and is the biggest food delivery business in Latin America. And we used the expertise we had in the mobile content business to consolidate the market, to consolidate the food delivery market. So we made around 10 acquisitions in this segment in Latin America, what put us in a very nice growth trajectory. So after consolidate and having the position in content and in food, we keep expanding. 1 year and a half ago, 2 years, we entered in the ticket business to sell tickets for theater, cinema, events. And we are growing a lot on that. We invested in one company and we are going to invest in other three this year that today is delivering around 20 million tickets per year. We use it again, our expertise to ramping up a mobile service to market it in scale, and also our M&A expertise to consolidate the market. After entering those three segments, we are entering now also in other segments. So right now we are preparing to announce investments in the fintech business. We are going to have a payment infrastructure that's going to enable our payments through all of the customers of the Movile ecosystem. We also entered the grocery business through investment in Mercadoni, a grocery company. So I believe, trying to summarize all of that, we started developing a very strong capacity in terms of M&A, management model, culture, and innovation. And after succeeding the content business, we started to expand to other verticals, specifically food, tickets, and now payments. We are excited with the results so far, but also I'm sure we are just starting. We have much more ahead.
So going back to when you got started in 2000 and going all the way to 2012, when it seems like it started to have a point of inflection and kicking off, there's been lots of companies that were doing mobile content all around the world that have never been able to do this sort of big change into, or an evolution into tech and doing lots of consumer-based things that are not just on text messaging or content. How do you think, or why do you think Movile and your team were able to do it and be successful compared to others that haven't been able to do it?
I believe Movily, strong asset is not the investment capacity we have, but or the technology per se, but the people and the values of the culture of Movily. First, we have a capacity to innovate that is very, very high. All the time, I remember everyone here, Movily today is a completely different company than 2 years ago. And I'm sure it will be a completely different company in 2 years. Many times when I'm doing some presentations, people ask, so why Movily decided to change in 2013? Actually, Movily changes a lot every year. Every year we change the structure, the innovation areas, the people that is in charge of each of the business areas. We are a company that accepts that if the world is changing very fast over the last few years, in the next years it's going to change even faster. So being able to adapt, to learn fast, to try new things, and to run new business is a competence that most of the bigger companies can't do, but I think we can do quite well. I told you our story in like 3 minutes. It looks like a story of good ideas and success. The reality is very different from that. Every year we tried 100 different innovation projects. We have tens of cells trying to do new projects. We tried 10 or 15 new technologies, and I can tell you without any problem, 90% of that fail. But what we are really good is to accept that to learn fast and grow, we have to have a culture to change and learn and test new things. We do it in scale and fast at Movili. And sometimes maybe 10% of the innovation projects we have, we succeed. And because of that, we grow a lot, more than 10 times. So I believe Movili knows well how to learn and do it really fast. And that's what makes me comfortable to say that we are just starting because we are doing well in food and content, but we have today other 30 or 40 projects that I believe over the next few years, some of them are going to succeed substantially. I can't tell you what is going to succeed, but I can tell you we are doing so many innovation things that probably we will be there when you find a new path to grow.
So that attitude and the ability to change and experiment and accept failure in many projects to pick the best ones sounds straight out of Silicon Valley or out of Alibaba or Tencent in China, but not generally the stereotype of companies in Latin America are doing that. So why do you think you and your team were able to do that from Brazil? Where did you get the idea or the ability to do that? And what inspired you to do it?
Perfect. I agree with you totally. Our inspiration started learning from Silicon Valley. The way Silicon Valley was always testing new things, investing in new companies to grow faster, to find new ways to grow. I always had a big inspiration of Silicon Valley, but over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, our inspiration is we really look at China. I think they are doing an amazing work. Many of Movili innovations today, for example, our ecosystem approach, where we have a super app where we sell all our products, is completely benchmarked. We learned this approach through the Chinese companies. So I would say we learned it from first looking at Google and Silicon Valley, now looking at China. There's a third benchmark that for me is very important. There is a company that's called Ambev here. Globally, it's called AB InBev, that is the owner of Budweiser and other beer all around the world. And we always loved the way that they have a culture that is obsessed about results and meritocracy. And I would say Movili is a composition of Silicon Valley approach, let's say Google, with InBev, because at the same time we are disrupting technology, trying 100 different things, but we have a very strong component of meritocracy where the best people is promoted quite fast and the worst people lose their space to other people that can deliver more and faster. uh, we give bonus and stock options and a strong compensation to people that really deliver. And at the same time, our obsession about results culture, where we really have everyone focus in deliver the growth that we need to be. I think Movile today is a composition of a Silicon Valley culture to a B InBev culture. This is not the Brazilian prototype of company. Most of the company are not meritocracy, nor take risks in innovation. But I think that's why we are outperforming most of the companies around here.
So you mentioned taking some inspiration from some of the ecosystem approach from Chinese companies, in that you have launched the app that has all of your different products. And I've been reading about potentially going into payments. Can you talk a little bit about the inspiration from China, and then also the payments and the one app that you're doing going forward?
For sure. We always learn about innovation from the Valley. And the Valley obviously is an amazing place. But I think everyone in US should spend more time understanding what's happening in China. They made many new approaches to many problems with amazing results. One company that always inspires us is Tencent. Probably hope most of you know the WeChat case. They have a better messaging ecosystem than the ones that we know in US or in Latin America. And for us, this is an opportunity. It really works well in China, but we believe we are the company that is best position, that has the best position in Latin America to do it around here. So we learned the Tencent, the Meituan Dianping approach, where they also have payment layers. Not only Tencent and Meituan, but also Alibaba, for example, among a few others. They have a payment layer that really reduce the barrier to people make a purchase. I think most of the companies around here, they have a big barrier to make the first purchase, and it reduces the mobile payment penetration. What we are doing is we have 100 million customers. We need to all of them be able to buy in any of the mobile products, and in the future in any other mobile products with one click. That's what is going to that's an important step to really make the mobile commerce a daily normal thing in the lives of everyone. Chinese through WeChat and Meituan, Jiangping and Ant are doing that amazingly well. I would say much better than the US companies. We are doing the same thing here. Now we have an app called Rápido, that means fast in Portuguese, where we can offer the whole mobile portfolio inside this app. So you can buy food for lunch, for dinner, buy a ticket for a concert, or buy music, or buy content, or top up your mobile phone. I know this is not the success story in US, but I believe we are in an amazing position to replicate the Chinese story here. Hope to have good news on that in 1 year.
I think that's really interesting, because if you look at the payment space in Latin America, where most people still don't have a credit card, many people don't have bank accounts. The Chinese case is much more similar to the Latin America reality than the US is. So I do think the US eventually will end up with some sort of a mobile payment solution similar to what's going on in China. But it'll be very interesting to see if Latin America can leapfrog the US and go to direct to the China case. I think it's really interesting to see how you guys will execute that.
That's our goal. Now let's see what happens. But we are excited so far. What we have saw that is interesting to share is that we have quite high engagement in tickets and in foods and in content business. But when we put all of them together, we have even higher engagement, because people get used to get to one place and discover other services around. So we still don't have scale because it's quite a new launch for Movile. But if we can really increase the frequency of the transactions, that's how the Chinese see it. They see high frequency ecosystem, and we are seeing that on our data. I think we will be ready to really connect maybe more 100 million people around Latin America to mobile services.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. And so I saw earlier this year or late last year, you did one of your first investments outside of Brazil into Mercadoni in Colombia.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that investment and why you thought that Colombia was an interesting market to get into?
We are very excited about it. We have a strong presence in Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, but usually we had a more greenfield approach. So we have operations of the content business all around Latin America. We have offices all around Latin America. We just after that, we also made another acquisition in France. So now we have a position in Europe too, and in US, but it's greenfield. With the investment of Mercadoni, is a market that I like very much. That is the grocery market, similar to Instacart in US. But Instacart has the problem of the cost of the delivery is too high in US. So you spend a lot to have a person to be the personal shop, and also the last mile delivery is also more expensive. I believe in Latin America, where we have cheaper costs for people working on the delivery, we have an opportunity to have not only a scalable business but quite good financial results on this business. Mercadoni is a very nice company. We are doing that in Colombia, Mexico, and Argentina. Hopefully, this business is going to prove successful and we'll be able to expand it much more. My expectation is to keep doing investments and acquisitions in Latin America. And I hope Movile will announce a few more soon. Just talking about the Movile M&A capacity, we've done more or less 30 transactions in investments, acquisitions, consolidations, or fundraisers rounds for some of our companies in the last 3 to 4 years. Probably we are one of the most active companies doing M&A in the region. And I think this is critical for us, just as it's critical for Silicon Valley, because through M&As we enter in new segments. We know founders that are the soul of the company, founders and people that can really push for innovation. So I'm very proud that we are one of the most active M&A players in the region, and I hope I can do more 30 over the next 3 years.
Yeah, and I think it's a really important piece of the ecosystem, not just for you as a company, but to also help the founders that do get started, yes, even if they don't do exceptionally well, to end up with not a full-on failure where they join a company that's doing really well and be able to learn. Maybe they go and start something new after.
Let me make a comment on that. That's an opportunity in Latin America, because in the US, the founders run the company for 2, 3, 4 years. They get acquired, they sold or even they close the company. But here, most of the medium or big companies as Movile, they are not actively buying or acquiring or even investing in company. And this kind of venture capital makes the ecosystem work much better, makes the company work much better. For us in Movile, this is a reality. We work better because we take risks with founders outside. But actually, in Latin America, very few company does it. So I think there is a big opportunity to companies to invest more in startups as a way to innovate, enter new markets, learn.
So speaking about founders, if you had one piece of advice for founders just getting started today, or maybe they've started and have a moderately successful business but haven't taken the next step yet, what would it be?
Think big. I think everything in Movile starts with a very big dream that pushes us every day. When I talk about Movile in a few minutes, it looks like everything's just went well. The reality is very far from that. Everything fails here every day. But we remember our vision, we remember what we believe that we can do and the contribution we can have as a company. And we come back tomorrow to work more, faster, to do more. So I think they have to really think big. And that's an important advice for the founders in Latin America, because all of them start with very shy objectives. We at Movile are always thinking we need to think very big. We need the absolute best people. We need to be obsessed about results. And that's what's going to, after many mistakes, make us succeed.
Do you have an example of a big goal that you set in the past that people said, oh, this is crazy, they're never going to do that, and then you guys were able to do it?
10 examples like that. In Movili, when we were a two-persons company, our goal was to be a 100 million reais company, like a $30 million company. And everyone said, this is completely impossible. Then when we are getting to that, when we got to like 20, I said, forget the 100 million reais. This is nothing. We need to be a 1 billion reais company. Then people said, come on, this is completely impossible. Then 4 years later, when we were around like 700, like the 1 billion was like, we are going to get in 1 year. I said, come on, 1 billion is something small. We have to talk in $1 billion. So these are three things that we set very high goals, and then we got to $2 billion in transactions, etc. And now we think about many billion dollars. And people think it's crazy today, but give me more 4 years. What I can learn from this story is that it's not only Fabricio knew what was right. Actually, I have an amazing team, and the team can deliver more than they think. That's how I. That's the big learning. People think making $1 billion is completely impossible because they are not inspired or they believe they can do less than they really can do. So what I try to do with very aggressive goals is to challenge people to try harder, to think bigger, to try new ways to get to that goal. And then after maybe 1 year, people start to believe that this is possible. And after two, we get there. So I think the message for the Latin American entrepreneurs is we can have not unicorns here in the region, but we can have many $10 billion company, not one, but 10. Depend on us to push for that and to make it happen. And I'm sure we will have many success cases in the region.
Yeah, that's great. So you're also one of the more active investors in the region. So do you have a piece of advice for other venture capital investors or companies in the region that are investing in startups?
For us, the people in the companies we are investing is very, very important. It's more important than everything is to really have very good people. The Movili approach for investment is not like we are the guy with the money and we know everything. Actually, we try to really work together and together build something good. So my advice would be put less lawyers in the room and really develop a vision with the founders and make them happen and take more risk together with the founder. So we really go together with the founder as an entrepreneur, and usually it's easier to work with us than other VCs because they have 10 lawyers and 10 rules like this is the way we do, is that or nothing. We adapt, we learn, we are doing better every transaction, and I think that's why it has been good for the founders to work with us.
Yeah, I think that's key. I mean, we're on a smaller scale than you are in terms of investments, but we try to take a similar approach with basically working with the founders to figure out what they really want to get to and only bring the lawyer in at the very end to make sure that what we've agreed to is okay, but not getting them in at the beginning. I think that's really good advice. So can you recommend any books, blogs, podcasts, documentaries that you think are helpful to people either just in business or life in general?
Sure. One book that's not well known outside Brazil that I'd love to recommend is called Dream Big. It's a book about the story of the creation of the 3G group and the Being Bev company. It's a very well known book in Brazil. The author is Cristiane Correia, and it is super inspiring because it shows how few entrepreneurs created and become a big part of a $300 billion global group. I really get inspired by them. I think this book is an amazing summary of their story that should be read all around the world, not only in Brazil. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's good. I can attest to it. You recommended that to me before I read it. It's great. So definitely people should read it. The last question I like to ask is, so if you could go back to when you started the company, knowing everything that you know now today, what advice would you give yourself?
I think it's the one I said before. It's really dream big, persist. I like very much one chart that says what people think success look like, and it's like a beautiful chart just going up. But what success really looks like, and it is chaos, and you go up and down and having mistakes and problems is a normal thing. I love a quote that says, if problems makes you crazy, don't even get to the entrepreneurial world, because that's our job. So welcome the problems and let's solve it. That's my one advice. Welcome the problem, dream big, enjoy the path, enjoy the journey, and let's create great stories here for Latin America and for the world.
Yeah, that's great. So thanks again for taking the time to do this. Where can people find more about you and Movile online?
Please visit us at www.movile.com, MOVILE, and send us a message. Let's do great business together.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of Crossing Borders. If you enjoyed it, please let Fabricio and me know on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or via email. You can also do Instagram. If you like Crossing Borders, the two best things you can do to support the podcast are writing a review on iTunes and Stitcher and sharing your favorite episodes with a friend. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.